Hey, I'm Blair Best. It's Wednesday here on The Story, and tonight, Governor Tina Kotek celebrates the signing of several behavioral health bills into law, while there are still some major questions that remain unanswered. Plus, Multnomah County Commissioners today held the first of several meetings about Preschool for All, what they had to say about the potential changes to the tax that funds it. But first, a longtime Portland Community Center serves a wide variety of people, from preschoolers to homeless, all under one roof. But now, they're trying to change that. It's our big story tonight. In Northwest Portland sits one of the city's oldest community centers, Friendly House, dating back to 1930.
What's unique about Friendly House is our goal is to serve anybody who wants to walk in the door.
For me, it's a safe place.
From seniors to preschool kids, low-income adults, and even those experiencing homelessness, Maya Chamberlain lives that legacy.
In addition to being the executive director, I was a preschooler at Friendly House almost 50 years ago. What is spectacular about Friendly House is that the families who bring their kids here do it because they want their children to experience a diverse upbringing, a diverse community. We've never had any safety issues to speak of.
There's cameras, there's staff, there's people that are right-minded. Sometimes you'll run into somebody that's not right-minded here.
The space being in a public building, we have a community center downstairs. At times doesn't feel like it's the best space for kids.
It's one of the reasons Dan Hupala, who runs the children's programs, says they want to move the classrooms into a separate building.
Having a dedicated space that's 100% for the kids is going to be better for us.
15 preschool students at Friendly House are part of Multnomah County's Preschool for All program. That's free preschool for 3- and 4-year-olds, funded by a county tax on high-income earners. Those at Friendly House want to serve more kids through that program because the need is there. Currently, there are thousands of kids on the county wait list.
Getting the kids into their own purpose-built space felt like a high priority.
They need $4.8 million to convert a neighboring 120-year-old building into a school, tripling the number of student spots from 20 to 60. Multnomah County already pitched in $60,000 to kickstart the process.
Having purposely built spaces for classrooms will mean we can have at least 2 or 3 more classrooms.
And free up capacity for more adult programming in the community center and have a really child-specific space. Two
sides of the community in need of places just like this.
Anybody who walks in the door, we fundamentally believe, has something to give and something to receive by being here.
So the goal at Friendly House is to raise enough money for the needed renovations and open the new school next fall. If you'd like to help them out or learn more, check out their website, fhpdx.org. And speaking of Preschool for All, today Multnomah County Commissioners held the first of several public meetings this month focused on the program. Today, they talked about adjusting the tax that funds it. The current structure is a 1.5% tax on taxable income above $125,000 for single filers or above $200,000 for joint filers, and an additional 1.5% on a taxable income above $250,000 for single filers and $400,000 for joint filers. The tax rate is set to increase by 0.8% in January 2027. Now, since the Preschool for All tax is relatively new, it started in 2021, the thresholds have not been changed. Commissioner Julia Brim Edwards is proposing to index the tax to inflation starting next year.
In like layperson's terms, so that the benefit of indexing doesn't accrue to the highest group, that what it does is it's being designed to someone just being pushed into paying the tax solely because of inflation, not because they actually have more real dollars.
Commissioners also want to see what can be done about high earners who have young children and work in Multnomah County but don't live in Multnomah County. So they pay the tax, but their kids can't get the free preschool because, again, they don't live in Multnomah County.
Could we just open Preschool for All to payers who don't happen to live in Multnomah County but work here and are paying the tax?
So using our 5,355 non-resident payers, and then assuming that about 3.5% of them have a 3 or a 4-year-old at home, that gets you 160.5.
Okay, not clear if anything will change for those roughly 160 families, but commissioners are talking about it. Commissioner Shannon Singleton is considering a childcare tax credit for those families. We're not expecting any major decisions in these meetings per se, but there are more to check on the program as it stands now, especially since there was a late attempt by state lawmakers this summer to end preschool for all, to lessen the tax burden on high earners in Multnomah County, a move that seemed to have the support of Governor Tina Kotek, who claimed the tax was driving high earners out. Not all commissioners are ready to vote on big changes just yet. In fact, the county's financial officer warned them against making big adjustments in the middle of a tax year in order to give people enough time to understand the changes. It's a sentiment echoed by Commissioner Singleton today.
The way we do this and the process is really important. We have a serious lack of trust in this community for Multnomah County. And in order for us to change that, we have to run good process. And right now, I can't even articulate how all of these different bodies are weighing into decisions we're making in August and decisions we might make later or decisions we might make for next budget year. We've got to figure that out and be able to articulate it not only for us as board members, but for the community.
The next county meeting on this is August 19th, where they will talk more about Preschool for All, meeting a goal that was set in the beginning and frankly is part of the name, universal coverage for all 3- and 4-year-olds in the county by the year 2030. We'll be watching. Well, today, Oregon Governor Tina Kotek signed 4 bills into law aimed at improving the state's mental health and substance use treatment systems. The key policy bill makes it easier to force mental health treatment on people with severe mental illness. It's an issue we've covered at length in our investigative series, Uncommitted.
So when we see people on the street who might be having a crisis, I think we're going to have a more direct path to saying, hey, let's get you some health care right now. Because you're clearly in crisis, and because you're so ill, you might not know it. But if we can get you stabilized and get you somewhere safer, you're going to get better. And that is what the focus of that bill is. We should use it carefully. We should use it prudently.
Paired with another bill that provides $65 million for more hospital beds and expanded treatment options, Governor Kotek said Oregon is now better equipped for prevention and intervention.
Those 2 bills together are about making a course correction here in our state, about how our system can do a better job helping more individuals who are suffering from acute mental illness to make sure they get the care they need. These bills will lead to better outcomes for people in crisis, and they will lead to better outcomes for all of our communities.
Another $6 million will go to grants for behavioral health workers. That's people like Kate Keckler, who just graduated from the Eastern Oregon University Clinical Mental Health Counseling Program.
Every single day we feel the weight of a system that doesn't have the capacity to help every person who might need it. In rural Oregon, this crisis hits especially hard. That's why the investments in capacity of our behavioral health system being made today are so meaningful. To me and other providers, it confirms there will be a future for us in this difficult field.
But despite the celebratory bill signing, there are still some major questions. Oregon is currently under a federal contempt order for taking too long to admit mentally ill people in jail to the Oregon State Hospital, racking up thousands of dollars in fines. And a 2024 State Health Authority study found that Oregon needs to add 3,000 beds at an estimated cost of $500 million to meet the state's current mental health needs. This funding does not come close to that, and it's not clear if the new investments will do enough to open treatment spots at the state hospital, making civil commitment a viable option again, as Kotek hopes.
As we improve that system and help people move back into their communities and not just be at the state hospital, that will free up places for individuals who might need the civil commitment placement for a short amount of time.
For several months now, we've covered cases of federal agents in Portland detaining people after immigration hearings downtown and taking them north to the ICE detention facility in Tacoma. But now there are volunteers working to prevent that from happening. Thomas Schultz explains.
In downtown Portland, the federal building seems quiet, but watch closely, you'll see something interesting. Volunteers stand outside monitoring court hearings.
Anytime those hearings are happening, which is most days of the week, we have volunteers on the ground.
Natalie Lerner coordinates hundreds of legal observers who have attended more than 300 preliminary hearings. Recently, those hearings have gained attention as ICE has arrested people after they end, something they are allowed to do after the Trump administration rescinded guidelines preventing courthouse arrests in May.
I think we've done very well on immigration. We were given a very bad hand by Biden.
In a statement, the Department of Homeland Security said, in part, ICE is now following the law and placing these illegal aliens in expedited removal. If they have a valid, credible fear claim, they will continue in immigration proceedings. If not, they'll be deported.
Do you have a warrant?
In June, this asylum seeker was arrested in downtown Portland and taken to Tacoma, Washington, the nearest ICE detention facility.
ICE is trying to whisk people sort of out of state to be away from the jurisdiction of the Oregon federal courts.
Volunteers are trying to stop that by escorting people to and from hearings and alerting lawyers to arrests.
There's a robust presence of people there with eyes on the illegality.
Jordan Cunnings is a lawyer with Innovation Law Lab. She says once attorneys are notified of arrests, they file habeas petitions, arguing the detainments are unlawful before people are taken out of state.
We've been able to move really quickly to protect people's rights.
And in Oregon, there's no ICE detention facilities. So ICE is instead forced to release a person from detention while the petition is pending. But there's a catch. For Oregon to maintain jurisdiction, lawyers must file petitions before people are taken out of state.
Often a habeas petition with the federal court is the only realistic way we can get someone released.
And with the Columbia River less than 9 miles away, they have to work fast.
It's a little bit of a race, to be honest, yeah.
A race they think they're winning.
It also, I think, has had a deterrent effect on ICE activity.
Lerner says volunteers haven't seen ICE near the Portland Federal Building lately, leading to fewer arrests.
There's a lot of folks who are really passionate about protecting their neighbors.
In Portland, Thomas Schultz, KGW News.
Researchers at Oregon State University are trying to help developers build stronger homes and buildings in areas that are often hit hard by the elements, mostly along the Pacific coast. Meteorologist Joe Ranieri got a first-hand look at how the school is testing construction one wave at a time.
Generally, when you're doing research, you're hoping to find some success. Well, in this case here at the Oregon State University Wave Lab, they're hoping to fail. The sounds of waves crashing might make you think of a day at the beach, but these are not beach waves.
We have a number of communities living by the coast, and the storms are, the storm surge and the waves are affecting and damaging some of those houses.
Pedro Lamonaco is the director of the OSU Wave Lab. Researchers from the school and across the country are trying to determine how these waves can help them build better homes. These two homes behind me are built on a 1-to-3 scale, meaning they are built 3 times smaller than a regular house. With every wave slamming the house, it tells these guys what's happening to the integrity of the home. The orange house is representative of a house in a 100-year floodplain, which has a higher chance of being flooded in any year, while the green house is representative of a 500-year floodplain.
It's just a matter of time. The longer you are interacting with the coast, there are more chances for you to see the extreme events. And what we are observing is that those extreme events are happening.
After every test, researchers and students would get an idea of how long it took to see damage from the waves. The one in the 100-year floodplain started falling apart after wave heights of more than 3 feet kept hitting it.
And it's the largest we've ever tested structures to failure, to collapse. And that's important because we need to understand how buildings fail so that we can do better designs.
This might be a smaller scale from the real world.
At the end, it's about what the weather is doing, and still there's a number of unpredictable factors there.
But it still tells them a lot of what we can do to better protect ourselves and property. In Corvallis for Environmental Northwest, Joe Ranieri, KGW News.
Well, turning now to a new U.S. Coast Guard report that paints a devastating picture of what went wrong aboard the Titan submersible that made major headlines in the summer of 2023, calling the deadly implosion both avoidable and alarming. Investigators found Everett, Washington-based Oceangate at fault, revealing design flaws, ignored warnings, and missed opportunities to prevent the disaster. Sebastian Robertson walks us through the findings.
The U.S. Coast Guard's investigating body confirming what many whistleblowers have long claimed. The Titan submersible was likely doomed before it hit the water.
Definitely, it was an exploitation of the gaps in the system.
In 2023, Oceangate's Titan launched some 900 miles east of New England, diving to the wreckage of the Titanic. It lost contact with the surface just 1 hour and 45 minutes into its dive. 4 days later, Oceangate confirmed all 5 people on board, including Stockton Rush, its founder, was killed.
By taking people to the Titanic and getting awareness of what can be done underwater, I hope we'll get a cadre of mission specialists that say, look, I want to go every year.
The Coast Guard, more than 2 years later, found that the company's failure to follow, quote, safety testing and maintenance of their submersible was the primary causal factor of the accident.
It was a tough group to work with. They had a different mindset on how to proceed with the program than we did.
Investigators also narrowing in on what they call Oceangate's toxic workplace environment, which they claim used firings to dissuade employees from expressing safety concerns.
Don't forget, until they had a bad day, everyone thought they were the coolest thing because they were showing everyone they were right, they were taking the risk, and they were the heroes until it all went bad. So they had all the good press. They just kept pushing their luck. And the reason why it failed was their decisions were bad.
As for Stockton Rush, the media-friendly CEO, he died in the accident, along with a well-known Titanic expert and 3 so-called adventure tourists. And with his death, the possibility of criminal charges for a man the Coast Guard says repeatedly ignored warnings and pushed safety boundaries.
Oceangate and its CEO were not the only ones found at fault in the Coast Guard report. Investigators claim OSHA did not properly pursue a 2018 whistleblower complaint. They say early intervention may have resulted in Oceangate pursuing regulatory compliance or abandoning their plans for Titanic expeditions. Well, coming up next on the story, there's $2.5 billion in unclaimed money sitting with the state of Washington in Olympia. We'll tell you how to find out if you are owed any of it, and we'll take you inside the state's vault. That's when the story returns. Well, for those of you living north of the Columbia River, the state of Washington may have some of your money and wants to give it back. More than $2 billion in unclaimed funds are sitting in a state account. Drew Mickelson joins us from a unique place after finding out how the money ended up with the state and what you can do to see if any belongs to you.
Welcome to the Washington State Vault here at the Capitol in Olympia. The vault is now used as a storage room, but the treasurer's still here, and he may soon be cutting you a check.
And that diamond on the top there is actually real.
The state's unclaimed bounty ranges from shiny objects
And we got some LeBron James in his rookie year
to collectibles.
One of the items that I saw was a pirate treasure from like the 1700s from a shipwreck off of Spain.
Liz Black heads up the Department of Revenue's Unclaimed Property Program.
It's reuniting people with what's theirs.
While the items from abandoned safety deposit boxes are valuable, they're just a fraction of the estimated $2.5 billion in unclaimed cash.
Bank accounts, stocks, dividends, insurance proceeds, uncashed checks, potentially payroll.
And it's money due to you. And as we found out, state agencies, even the Department of Revenue and the governor's office, companies like Boeing and local sports teams, even defunct ones like the Seattle Supersonics. The state has recently doubled its staff that seeks out those with the biggest potential payouts, and in 2023 started contacting residents owed less than $1,000.
We are locating properties within our system that are more straightforward. We're contacting residents of Washington, letting them know they have something out there so we can get it out to them with minimal documentation.
Many of the amounts are under $25, but it's your money, or potentially your heirlooms, that the state is holding and collecting interest on. But the Department of Revenue says it would rather give it all back to the rightful owners, who on occasion are skeptical.
It's too good to be true. Is it a scam? Is it real? This is a Washington state law.
Okay, so if you think you might be owed something from the state, check out their database yourself. If you search for the Washington State Department of Revenue, their site makes it pretty easy. If you find you do have something, you can file a claim online, and it usually takes a couple of months for a check to arrive in the mail. Well, turning now to an update out of the city of Stevenson in Skamania County. The primary election in Washington state happened yesterday, and we're getting our first look at unofficial results in the race for Stevenson mayor. You may remember our story last week on one of the candidates, Lucy Losser. She made waves recently protesting topless for transgender rights. She was later arrested and charged with indecent exposure. Now, the latest results from the primary yesterday not going Lucy's way. The top two vote getters advanced to the November election, and as you can see, it does not appear that Lucy will move forward. Instead, the race for mayor looks like it will be between the current Stevenson mayor, Scott Anderson, and a commissioner at the Port of Skamania County, Jenny Collins-Taylor. Keep it here. We're back right after this. Well, it is that time of year. The KGW School Supply Drive is going on now. And one of the best ways you can help is to give online. Go to kgw.com/school and click Donate Cash. And during this week of giving, for every $1 donated at any On Point branch, they'll donate $5. We want to thank On Point Community Credit Union, Safeway, and Rick's Custom Fencing for everything they're doing to make this year's supply drive a success. And check it out on Saturday. Join us at the Washington Square Mall from noon to 4 to do some shopping, pick up some extra school supplies, and drop them off with us. Again, that's Saturday from noon to 4 at Washington Square Mall. Well, today marks 6 months until the start of the Winter Olympics, which you can watch right here on KGW. The games are being co-hosted by 2 cities in Italy, more than 250 miles apart, though 5 other locations will stage events as well. It's the first time the Winter Games will be held in Europe since 2006, which were also in Italy. The opening ceremony is Friday, February 6th, again right here on KGW. The games last through February 22nd. Well, that is the end of our show, folks. Thanks so much for watching. The good stuff is coming your way next. And don't forget, everyone has a story to tell. If you ever miss an episode of The Story at 6:30, we re-air it at 8:30 and 10:30 on our TV app, KGW Plus, which you can download for free right now on Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV. Have a great Wednesday night. I'll see you right back here tomorrow night at 6:30.